Hi, altruistic well-wishers and constructive critics. How are you today? It's Professor Suresh, delighted to be back for my 31st video in process of publication on YouTube today, 22nd of June 2020. Topic for discussion is present generation of youngsters. A generation is all of the people born and living at about the same time regarded collectively. It can also be described as the average period generally considered to be about 30 years during which children are born and grown up, become adults and begin to have children. In kinship terminology, it is a structural term designating the parent-child relationship. It is also known as biogenesis, reproduction or procreation in the biological sciences. Generation is often used synonymously with cohort in social science. Under this formulation, it means people within a delineated population who experience the same significant events within a given period of time. Generations in this sense of birth, cohort, also known as social generations, are widely used in popular culture and have been the basis for sociological analysis. Serious analysis of generations began in the 19th century, emerging from an increasing awareness of the possibility of permanent social change and the idea of youthful rebellion against the established social order. Some analysts believe that a generation is one of the fundamental social categories in a society, while others view its importance as being overshadowed by other factors including class, gender, race, and education, among others. The word generate comes from the Latin genera, meaning to beget. The word generation as a group or cohort in social science signifies the entire body of individuals born and living at about the same time, most of who are approximately the same age and have similar ideas, problems, and attitudes. Example: beat generation and last generation, LOST. A familial generation is a group of living beings constituting a single step in the line of descent from an ancestor. Social generations are cohorts of people born in the same date range and who share similar cultural experiences. The last generation, also known as the generation of 1914 in Europe, is a term originating with Gertrude Stein to describe those who fought in World War I. The last LOST generation is defined as a cohort born from 1883 to 1900 who came of age during World War I and the Roaring Twenties. The greatest generation, also known as GI generation, includes the veterans who fought in World War II. They were born from around 1901 to 1927 and came of age during the Great Depression. The silent generation, also known as lucky few, were born from approximately 1928 to 1945. In the US, the cohort includes some who may have fought in World War II, most of those who may have fought the Korean War, and many of those who may have fought during the Vietnam War too. Baby boomers, also known as the me generation, boomers are the generation that were born mostly following World War II, typically born from 1946 to 1964. That's what I am. Increased birth rates were observed during the post-World War II baby boom, making them a relatively large demographic cohort. Generation X, commonly abbreviated as Gen X, is the generation following the baby boomers. Researchers and popular media typically use birth years around 1965 to 1980 to define generator Xers, although some sources use birth years beginning as early as 1960 and ending somewhere from 1977 to 1985. These years are not that fixed and all that. The term has also been used in different times and places for a number of different subcultures or countercultures since the 1950s. In the US, some call Xers the baby bust generation because of a drop in birth rates following the baby boom. The drop in fertility rates in America began in the late 1950s, but according to authors William Strauss and Neil Howe, who used a 20-year lifespan from 1961 to 1981 for their birth years, by 1991 There were approximately 88 million Xers in the US. Millennials, also known as Generation Y, Gen Y, are the cohort of people following Generation X. Researchers and popular media use the early 1980s as starting birth years and the mid 1990s to early 2000s as ending birth years, with the 1981 to 1996 a widely accepted defining range for this generation, Gen Y. According to Pew Research, the millennials will surpass the baby boomers in numbers in the US in the year 2019, with an anticipated 72 million boomers and 72 million boomers and 73 million millennials. Generation Z, Gen Z for short, or Zoomers, are the demographic cohort of people succeeding the millennials. Demographers and researchers typically use the mid-1990s as starting birth years, while consensus has not been reached on the ending birth years. Although 2012 is a widely accepted cutoff, Generation Alpha is the demographic cohort succeeding Generation Z. Demographers and researchers typically use the early 2010s as starting birth years and the mid to late 2020s as ending birth years. That is Generation Alpha. Generation Alpha is the first to be born entirely in the 21st century. As of 2015, there were 2.5 million people born every week around the globe. Generation Alpha is expected to reach 2 billion by the year 2025. Our discussion pertains to Gen Z, called as Zoomers, and Gen Alpha, born after 1990. Majority of this present generation are very arrogant, hypersensitive, egoistic maniacs, self-centered to the core, opportunists, psychopaths, addicted to social networking, living in a virtual world of their own, addicted to drugs, perverts, barbarians, savages, pedophiles, and whatnot. India is a country respected all over the world for its rich cultural heritage. It's all in total ruins attributed to Gen Z and Gen Alpha. The credit goes to internet, aping Western culture, smart gadgets, movie, TV, etc. Parents also are not spending time with their kids to nurture the good habits. World has become highly materialistic and everybody is too busy and do not have the time nor energy to have quality time with their young family members. Moreover, those days we had joint families and elders used to take care of the kids and provided even counseling to the dear and near whenever difference of opinions arose. Nowadays such families exist seldom or never. It's all nuclear families, and families get together only for special occasions. And people think of the parents only on Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Deepavali, Pongal, Ramzan, etc. It is the effect of Western society. The youngsters do not respect the elders, gurus. Traditionally, Indians used to give the utmost respect to mother, father, guru, and then God in the same order. It's all gone. The root cause for all this is lack of support of the elders in the family, lack of family bonding, materialistic society. How many families eat together nowadays except when they go to hotels for lunch, dinner, etc. Parents are under the wrong impression that the responsibility ends with the taking care of the kids' desires for clothing, food, education, transport, electronic gadgets, etc. Then, whose responsibility is it to develop these youngsters as responsible, well-behaved citizens of the country? So many parents go beyond their means to get the expensive bikes, smartphones, high-end TV, computers, expensive dresses demanded by their siblings. They don't have even bothered to check whether they are using such facilities properly. Besides, so many parents provide hefty pocket money to the children. They don't really care about the siblings' well-being and mental health. Invaluable true love, affection, caring does not exist. One can never purchase these things from anywhere in the world. The elders are left to care for themselves, and sometimes even the property is swindled forcefully by their own children. A small story now. One guy used to ill-treat his father, providing him rotten quality food in a disfigured aluminum plate. One day his father perished. This guy was about to discard the aluminum plate when his son advised his father to retain retain that and told his father that he'll need that plate when he becomes dependent on his son. So life is like a boomerang, world is round and your sins will come to you after some time, come back to you. Most of us commit plenty of premeditated sins and we are very vicious and not virtuous. One's character is based on heredity, society, parents' behavior, friends and effect of social media. Social media, internet, TV, movies has a major impact which is mostly adverse on the youngsters' mindset. In movies, dons are disguised as heroes and ladies of easy virtue. Madhavis portray the role of Kannagis. TV serials are full of illicit relationship and ladies portray such vicious roles. Most of the crimes are committed by juveniles, also known as hired assassins, called Kuli Padai in Tamil. If they are caught by police, they are sent to the correction centers and not prisons as per our laws. Most of the child abuse like rape and murder are committed by youngsters and even infants are their victims. So many youngsters are addicted to drugs. Unmarried boys and girls are living together in the disguise of cousins. Social networking has forced so many girls to commit suicide because of bullying on such networks and sexual exploitation. Girls are paving the way for such abuses by posting their pictures, videos, and if it gets morphed, and then exploitation starts. The exploitation may be for money or sexual relationship. As a result of this, the life is ruined forever. Girls are addicted to selfies which they post on net for public comments. They feel happy if they get more likes than dislikes, else they feel dejected and lose their self-esteem. Today's youngsters cannot accept failure and commit suicide too. They are so vengeful too and resort to violence. Some school, college staff, besides even parents have lost their life in the process. Dressing, personal grooming and language has gone down the drain. All 4-letter words are used in regular communication with their friends and relatives. Respect for elders is gone. They hate advice from the elders, including their parents. Career choices are made based on potential earning opportunities which do not fit their passion. Every day, everybody wants to lead a luxurious life and are greedy for money and likes to be in the limelight. Performing bike stunts and motor racing, endangering the lives of the others on the city roads are other offensive acts committed by Gen Z. Youngsters are misled by actors, politicians, sports personalities. Smoking and drinking is very common even on educational campuses. Fighting on campus, public transport like bus service, trains is also the norm to prove their supremacy. Girls do anything to earn money. Basically, the youngsters lack the attention from their parents. Parents need to cultivate, nurture the good qualities called virtues right from infancy. Training the kids as well as dogs and other animals needs to start early. College and school students do not have the aptitude for studies and devote very little time and effort for academic activities. Nowadays, so much information is readily available on net, that too for free. But they don't put in the effort. Even academic projects are spoon-fed by the staff. So many students lack the attention in classroom and I call it attention deficiency syndrome, shortly ADS, unlike AIDS. They lack the maturity to realize the fact that money doesn't grow on trees. Gen Y and X were totally different and Gen Z might say it's a generation gap. Ultimately, the society system needs to be refined to change the mindset of the youngsters. Whatever I have stated are based on my personal experiences so far in my life. Okay, debates and discussions on topics like this can go on forever. Anyhow, let me call it a day. We'll meet again real soon with another good topic, interesting topic. Rest in peace and harmony. Always watch these videos with closed caption. subtitles for 100% absolute 100% comprehension. I know I rushed through to complete the presentation within 20 minutes max. There's a time limit I had set myself to retain the viewer's attention. Are you saying your attention span is much lower than that? I know nowadays I exceed this time limit since I make honest attempts to cover the selected topic more elaborately, including so many intricate details referring a wide variety of sources, in particular Wikipedia extensively, besides articles and books published recently. Stay at home as much as possible to maintain social distancing attributed to pandemic novel COVID-19 and prolong your lifespan. Lead a healthy life. God alone can put a stop to natural unnatural, maybe bio-war and cyber war, events like pandemics which may lead to apocalypse and extinction of all sentient species on earth. All the best. Take care.